Well, hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wealth Coffee Chat. Out and about today, Friday, up in Brizzy. Got to catch up with a few people. I hope you're all awesome and well. A few of the early birds in, which is always good. Kevin, all the way from Florida, mate. Thanks for joining. Lee from Tasmania. How's things down in Tassie, Lee? A bit cold up here in Brizzy, so might probably cold down your way. There you go. Hey, morning, Tim. Victoria, good morning to you. Luke, happy Friday, happy Friday. Yes, indeed, mate. Good to see you. We've got a few others here as well. Adrian, David, James. There you go. Sunny in Tassie. Oh, there you go. Fabulous. Well, hope you're all awesome and well, folks. Great to see you on this morning. Thanks for joining. While things are warming up and getting things going, I'll do the little intros. Most of you know this already, but we do this each weekday at around about 10 past 8. Yesterday I was a little bit earlier, which is fine then. My name's Jason Whitten. If you didn't already know, most of you do, but if you're new, like I say each and every time, you let us know in the chat. If you're new, say hello. We've got plenty of new clients joining our coaching and mentoring program. We've been doing it for a long time, coached a lot of people to be successful, safe, smart property investors across Australia and New Zealand. And along the way, learn one or two things. And each morning we get together, have a conversation, a wealth coffee chat about what is going on out there in the world of property investing. And, things around it as well. So welcome along. Thanks for joining. And hopefully your property investing is going well for you. Hey, today I thought we might talk about something interesting. Anyway, I think it's interesting. The future of banking. Interesting times, which is a bit of a catch cry. Interesting times out there. I don't think I'll ever stop saying that. Because if there wasn't anything interesting happening in the marketplace, then we probably wouldn't be having these wealth coffee chats in the morning because there's nothing interesting to talk about. But something that has been cooking along in the background is, coming up, popping up, making its debut in the world of banking. Does anyone know what it is? Something that's been in the background. Maybe put it in the chat for me if you think you know what it is. What is happening? What's officially, it was on the cards last year. It's been in the background for a while when it comes to banking, the world of banking, and in Australia as well. But what's happened in the last few weeks? Does anybody know? When it comes to maybe disruption and changing the banking system, and what does that mean to us as property investors? We'll talk about that in a minute. But does anybody know? Tim's saying inflation. That's been happening, yeah, for sure, Tim. But that's not what happened in the last few weeks. But the inflation figures look like they're going down, Tim, which is great news for us in banking. Cashless society, yeah, that's underway. So it's linked to this cashless society, folks. Who's jumping in? Who's getting involved? In this cashless society? New regulations. Yep. I'll chuck it out there. What industry is now getting involved in banking and deposits and lending and getting involved in this world pretty significantly? Well, it's the tech giants, right? It's the tech giants. I don't know if anyone was paying any notice to this stuff. I myself and Andy Fenton watch this stuff pretty closely, folks. But who got involved? Yeah, crypto's out and about for sure, Tim. But who got involved officially in the last little bit? Just recently, anyone know? I'll put you out of your misery. Let me do this for you. Check out this. All right, Apple wants to become your bank, and the war with the big four and the RBA is on. Check out that, folks. All right. As of the last little bit, I think it's in the last few weeks, Apple now, hey, morning, Jeff. Apple now can receive your deposits. You can keep your money, digital money, in Apple's bank. And guess how much interest they would pay. Now, tell me right now, in the chat, let me know your bank, when you've got your savings account, which is not, it's called a losings account. Why is it called a losings account? Because inflation is higher than the interest you're getting with the cash sitting in the bank. So by default, your money, your value is going backwards, folks, just so you know. Cash is trash. Money in a bank account, in a savings account, is devaluing. We've had this chat before, but tell me right now in the chat, what's the interest rate that you're getting if you do have some cash in a savings account or a losings account or a devaluing account right now? Tell me, what's the interest rate that you might be getting yeah. Well, that's it. That's true, actually, Tim. But you're sitting in your offset account, right, Tim? At least you're saving or offsetting. It's not just sitting in the cash is trash, not doing anything for you. But tell me, folks, what's the interest rate that you get in a regular Australia 183%? Yep, okay, 2 to 3% maybe. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? The word is interesting, isn't it? So guess how much Apple is proposing to pay? In America, this is a pretty big thing. Apple's debut savings account, 4.15%. 4.15%, 10 times. Check that out. It's crazy, right? 10 times the US national average. Folks, look at that. 4.5% or 4.15%. Yep, 10 times the US average. You tell me, what's going to happen? Now, I've said this for a long time, and I said it to, on Wealth, One and Wisdom and other times that we've had these chats. Right now, let's say, Apple gets into the banking system, and right now this is available in Australia too, or it's going to be available in Australia. If you had money in an account, and you can easily have it in Apple's account at a, let's say in Australia, a 25% higher rate, and in America, 10 times higher than the national average. What do you think's going to happen, folks? Tell me. And this is an interesting one. Like, what's ahead? What do you think's going to happen? Regular Joe here and regular Mary. Terrible drawings, by the way. Sorry. Okay. Regular Joe and regular Mary. If they have some savings and they can get 10 times that amount return on savings, what do you think they're going to do? Where are they going to take it from, and where would they put it, folks? People are going to move their savings. You're dead right, Tim. What is going to happen? If that happens en masse in America, we've got some interesting times ahead, folks, right? We've got some banking challenges. Now, I don't know the full details on this. I'm going to dive into it. Yep. They might, you never know, drop their interest rate once they have the people. But, it's easy to move money around. So they've got to stay. I think more banks will crash. And I think the more appropriate wording than crash, quite dramatic. There have been a few banks that they're going to either transform or disappear, because that's what should happen. The banking system is old and archaic and broken, folks, isn't it? I believe it is. The idea that having a bank in the middle between people who have money and people who need money has been around for a while, right? So what was the role of banks in loose liquidity? Now, so it's the interesting thing, Tim, and I'm going to try and get Fenton sorted out soon. He's just back off holiday, so we'll try and get into this. Karma. Yeah, they've been gouging profits for hundreds of years, and and that's not okay. I'm with you, Belinda. So you know, here's how the money system works, folks. On one side, there is people, institutions, whatever, that have excess or spare money, right? There's institutions that have excess or spare money, folks. And then on the other side, there are people who don't have any money, but they want to borrow or lend some cash. They want some cash, okay, to do something with, right? So these people have spare cash. These people have no cash, but they want to loan some money. And in the middle, there's a facilitator, right? Who's the facilitator right now, folks? And this is a self-fulfilling question, but who's facilitating that now? Who's the big, chunky, fat, taking profit? You know, I don't know. This is a terrible picture. But the facilitator is the bank, right? The bank. Those institutions get in the middle and they say, hey, you give the money to me, I will give you a contract, person who has spare cash, because you don't know, you don't have the systems, the processes to lend it to the borrower. Then I will lend this money to the borrower, and then I will get paid handsomely to be in the middle, right? And who takes the risk? Who ultimately is the risk with? Well, they charge a fee to these people. And I'm not going to dive into things called fractional lending, fractional banking, and you know, the way the banking charter is written in every country in the world is that banks can take a small amount of deposits and then lend out like basically fake money in the economy. But I'm not going to talk about that today. So we've got the bank in the middle. And you know, Luke's saying, all right, the new economy is going to take over. Yeah, and what does that new economy look like? Like, let's have a think about this. And this is kind of like a, you know, pontification Friday, right? Let's have a look at some facts out there. What is happening? What will happen in the middle here? Those banks will transform, and there will be efficiency in these marketplaces. What do I mean by efficiency? Let's quickly go for like 30 seconds. There's actually three, folks. There's three. It's actually two, but anyway, actually there's probably a few more. But let's talk about three big businesses, right? Let's talk about three big businesses that have transformed industries. One, Spotify. All right. Number two, Airbnb, and number three, Uber. All right. How are we going to take advantage of this? That's the question, Tim. And I want to pose that question today. So, you know, what used to be in the middle here, folks? What used to be in the middle here? There used to be a facilitator, a wholesaler, a gouger, let's say, or whatever. There was always somewhere in the middle here before it got to the consumer. Over here was the person who wanted to buy the stuff, right? Over here was the consumer. Consumer. All right, consumer. All right. And there was always someone in here, you know, who was in the middle. This was all the big music companies, right? This was all the hotels and, you know, all of that. So big businesses, Uber. This was the taxi companies, right? And what happened is we didn't need them anymore. They got wiped out, like gone. You know, hotels gone. Well, not gone, but transformed. They didn't go. They transformed. And we facilitated this stuff in the middle. There was spare cars laying around, right? The musicians, they said, no, I don't want to. I just want to get on. Give me a platform so I can then just get straight to the consumer. Airbnb. I've got a spare house. How can I just rent it to someone who wants to stay here? Uber. I've got a spare car. How can I just facilitate and pick it up? And in the middle, the facilitators are changing. There's always going to be a facilitator, folks. There's always going to be something in here, right? The internet took over being exactly, Tim, the technology, the internet, the tech took over that facilitation, aggregated it, made it faster, made it more efficient, made it work a lot better. So what's happening right now, let's quickly jump to the chase. Apple is saying, hey, put your money in, yeah, you're probably dead right, Luke. Put your money with us. You know, you don't have to worry about banks and that sort of stuff. You know, how does Apple make money? Well, I'm sure Apple is using those funds in a certain way. So let's have a look at this. Amazon's in on it. Amazon's having a go. Amazon's going to do their best at saying, okay, we want to facilitate things down, and you know, we're going to have a look. We're going to do all the facilitating for merchants, folks. So what used to happen? The banks would have, you know, an ATM or a credit card machine on site for the merchants, whatever. Amazon is going, hey, don't have anything on site. We'll stack and pack it and send it for you. We'll collect the money. We'll put it in our warehouse. You know, total transformation. Google wants to be involved. Google's saying, well, we're not going to become a bank, but what we're going to do is help transform the banks. Check out this. They want to transform. It says, Senior Google says, we don't want to be a bank, but we want to play a central role in transforming how banks crunch data and push them instantly towards approving loans. Now, so instant loans, folks. Okay, who's going to give you your rating, folks? Who's going to rate you and give you the credit score? It's going to be Google. Google. It won't take much for Google to go, well, you know what? How about we facilitate? Jason's got some spare money. Google's already got the rating. Yep. Google's already got the rating. Tim wants to borrow money from Jason, right? And that should be how it is, folks. It's like Jason's got spare cash. Tim wants some. Can there be a facilitator in the middle, take a small margin and not gouge the crap out of it? You know, all of these, you know, fat bankers doing stuff that really they shouldn't be in the way of and taking billions of profits as we go. Yep, Tim, you're jumping on my next slide, right? Okay, so we've got this. Google's going to facilitate it. Google's got your credit score. Is Jason or is Tim any good for a loan? Yeah, Tim's good for it. Jason just presses approve. And online, the tech will facilitate it. And check out this. And, you know, this is already starting. If you hadn't heard of Chat GPT, well, you're living under a rock. Go and find out what it is. You know, Microsoft is owning Chat GPT, getting involved in these things. And this is what will happen. Some artificial intelligence will say, you know, it'll analyze the thing. You won't even talk to a human, and you'll get the loan or you won't get the loan. Interesting times ahead. What does that mean to us as property investors? Well, here's what I believe that's going to mean. I believe that it's going to be easier, which would be nice, right? I think lending is going to be easier, more straightforward, quicker. And if we as investors understand what that means to us, I mean, how long? I mean, folks, tell me in the chat, how inefficient is it to get a damn loan right now? Tell me how inefficient, how clunky, how annoying is it? Like, you have to wait months and months and months to get a loan. And it's like, come on now. You know, with all of this technology and things at our fingertips, why does it take so damn long? right? 3 months. It's bullshit. It needs to transform. It needs to, get better and get easier. Now, that's going to affect a bunch of industries into the future. Interesting times for, let's say, mortgage brokers and banks and those sorts of things, right? It's going to get easier, I think, over the next 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10, which will be great. That's right. Where are we going to buy? Where are we going to find things, as we go? And James, massive changes, folks, massive changes. I think what will happen, and I don't have time for it today, but I want to leave you something. I want to leave you with something, folks. And this is where the real showdown at the OK Corral is happening right now in money worldwide. The decentralization of control. That's why this digital cash is pretty interesting. The decentralization of control of resources. All right. The last bastion, is, if we could get rid of cash in society, then there's control. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. The governments and institutions have always, forever, been controlling us and you and me, and we've all been participating, just so we all know, right? You live in this country, you have to be a citizen, or you have to leave, or have a visa, right? You can't leave the country unless you've got a passport. You can't drive a car unless you've got a license. You can't earn money unless you've got a tax file number and you've got to pay tax. Like, all of that stuff is already there. So I'm not going down the conspiracy rabbit hole. This is just a progression of those things that are always present in government and institutions and society. What are we going to do about it as property investors? And understand that, well, we need to be smart. We need to be open to learning about it, because I think it's going to get easier. And for those who understand how to work with these changes into the future, we're going to get wealthier. We're going to be more in control of our money, our cash, our future. And we need to learn how to do it. Anyway, more like a pontification question conversation today. I don't know the exact answers, but I know we need to be observing and learning and understanding all of these movements, because it's going to happen pretty quickly, I think. COVID has accelerated all of our comfort factors in technology, in using things. I've never purchased as much stuff online in the last 3 years than I had in the previous 47 years of my life. That means I'm 50. I turned 50 this year. But anyway, there you go, folks. Interesting times ahead when it comes to the world of banking, the world of money, the world of liquidity. But as a property investor, here's what I do know. Unless everyone ends up in the metaverse, then real estate's always going to be required. And we're going to be on, it's true, Alison. If you're on the right side of the ledger, then we're going to be all right. And that's why I'm a big fan of all of us having a few deals up our sleeve for our wealth creation into the future. You know that. Right now is a great time to buy, folks. I'm telling you, if you can, you should be. Don't be sitting on the fence. It is time to get on with it in Australia, because we are certainly starting the next cycle, led by rents going up. As soon as the access to lending unlocks, folks, she's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Anyway, there you go. All right, team, that's it. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted for today. There is no Wealth, Wine and Wisdom at the moment. Andy Fenton, my compadre, is down and out. We will let you guys know when we're going to resume the normal show. It'll be very soon. He's been settling into fatherhood and a few things, bits and pieces. So there you go, folks. All right, team, that's it. I'm done. Remember, join me each weekday at around about 8:10 for Wealth Coffee Chat. And remember, this thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time to create wealth and become, secure in your property investing portfolio. Buy well, don't sell. That's my catchcry. You guys know that. Till next time, folks. You guys take care. Bye for now. Have a great weekend. See you next week. All right. Bye-bye.